Welcome all of you to my channel. Today we are going to talk about a dark comedy horror mystery thriller movie Ready or Not, released in the year 2019. And I hope that you will definitely like the story of this movie. The story begins with Alex and Daniel. Daniel hides his younger brother Alex in a closet. Then a badly injured man asks Daniel for help, but instead of helping him, Daniel calls his family. When they arrive, they take the man behind a door, which clearly means that now he has reached God. Flash forward to 30 years later, we see Grace, who is getting married to Alex. Alex and Grace talk to each other, where Grace tells Alex that your family thinks that I am marrying you only for money. And this is because Grace is poor and Alex is very rich. Daniel interrupts their conversation, and jokingly he tells you both not to get married. He says that you still have one last chance to not do this marriage. But Grace loved Alex with all her heart, so eventually they both get married. Now Alex and Grace are just about to begin their first wedding night party when Helen, Alex's aunt, comes in from the secret room and scares them, and she calls them down to her family. At that time, Grace was scared as to why someone would come from the secret room and do this. Whereas today is the first night of their marriage. Alex tells Grace that according to their ancestral tradition, whenever a new member joins the family, he has to play a game. And without playing that game, his family doesn't accept him. After Alex says this, Grace asks about the game. Then Alex tells you that you have to choose just one card from many cards, and that same card will decide which game will be played. Now Grace agrees and comes down after getting ready. Further, Alex's father Tony asks him whether he told Grace anything about the game or not. Alex says no, and he will never tell her. On this, Tony says that now only the game will tell. And what if Grace picked the wrong card and had to play their game? So he asks Alex whether he is ready for this or not. Shortly thereafter, Emily and Fitch arrive with their son George. Actually, Emily is the daughter of the same family and Fitch is their son-in-law. Due to missing his flight, he could not attend the wedding on time, so they wish Alex and Grace a belated good luck. Now there are only 5 minutes left for the clock to strike 12, and everyone goes to the room where the man shown in the beginning was taken. In fact, this room is his family's playroom. After sitting at the table, Tony tells everyone the rules of the game. He tells about a box. Only after taking cards out of this box it will be decided which game they have to play. Charity says it was chess and Fish's was Teen Patty. Now Grace takes a card out of the box, and on that leaf was written hide and seek. All the family members suddenly became silent, but since this was their family's tradition, everyone was forced to do so. Alex whispered in Grace's ear not to play games and to leave. He asked for it, but Grace had to play this game. Tony tells Grace to hide, and if she stays hidden until morning, she will win. Grace goes into hiding, and all the family members are ready with different weapons in their hands, so that he can kill Grace. And this is the rule of this game which Grace is unaware of. Alex's mother asks Charity to keep an eye on Alex, so that he doesn't make any mistake. Now everyone sets out to find Grace. The same Alex goes to the secret room without anyone knowing so that he can help Grace, but Charity finds out about this. Now Grace was feeling bored hiding in one place, due to which she came out. At that very moment, George goes out somewhere. Their maid Camelia goes to look for him. Then Alex picks up Grace and takes her to the room, and both of them remained hidden there for some time. After which, when Camelia comes there looking for George, Emily shoots her, mistaking her to be Grace. Everyone comes there hearing the sound of the bullet, and he curses Emily that if Grace sees all this, she will become alert. Grace gets very scared after hearing all this. Tony and Helen dispose of Camelia's body when Grace asks Alex. He tells her everything. He told her that his family has a rule, according to which, if he did not kill Grace before morning, then something very bad would happen to his family. Now Grace tears her wedding dress to make her escape easier. As Grace went ahead, there were 2 doors, and by choosing the wrong door, she was right in front of Tony, Daniel, and Helen. Now before the 3 of them can do anything, Emily arrives there and takes the wrong aim. Seeing the opportunity, Grace ran away from there and hid in the playing room. A little while later, when Daniel came over to get his drink, he saw Grace, but being a good man, he gives Grace 20 seconds to escape. And after she runs away, he calls his family. He was very worried when everyone arrived there, because Grace knows everything now. So Tony asks to look for Grace in the CCTV cameras, but since this is against their rules, Helen does not let him do so. Then Tony says that if there was so much progress in the times of his ancestors, then they too would have used a camera. Here Emily was very upset about losing her gun, so Fitch gives him his crossbow. But Emily does not know how to use a crossbow, so she accidentally kills their mate who came to tell them about Grace with the same crossbow. Then Grace decides that enough is enough. Now she will face everyone bravely. She takes a gun and several bullets from the playing room. Grace runs into the kitchen to escape, but the door is locked. Then a servant comes into the kitchen and Grace hides there. On the other hand, Alex goes to the control room and sees Grace in the CCTV. And he opened the door to the kitchen from the control room to help Grace. Here Grace aims a gun at the servant to run away, but the gun Grace had was a showpiece gun. That's why she breaks the hot water pot on the servant's head and walks away. And here Alex storms the control room before Daniel and Tony arrive, because of which they hit Alex on the head, rendering him unconscious and tying him up. During this time, he tells Alex that he has to choose between his marriage and his family. And after this, we come to know that the man who was killed in the beginning was Helen's husband. At that time, Helen chose her family over her husband, and now Alex must choose his family too. Grace was standing outside and listening to all this secretly, and Alex also hears all this while pretending to be unconscious. Now all the doors were open when Alex destroyed the control room, taking advantage of which Grace runs away. Grace hides in a stable, but then George arrives there, and seeing George, Grace becomes tension-free. But George shoots at Grace, due to which the bullet hits Grace's hand and creates a hole in it. Grace responds to George's dangerous behavior by knocking him unconscious with a single punch. And meanwhile, Grace falls into the basement after getting scared by a goat. There were many rotten corpses in that basement. Seeing them, Grace gets very scared. There was only an old and weak staircase to exit that basement, and Grace had to struggle a lot because she got shot in the hand. But the stairs break midway, and while Grace is trying to balance herself, a nail gets stuck in her hand. Now Grace somehow managed to get out of that basement. But while running away from there, Charity sees him. Charity tells this to her servant and goes inside to tell her family. Now here Grace was at the main gate, but because of the injury on her hand and her injured condition, she is unable to climb through the gate. One rod of that gate was half broken, so Grace breaks it completely. And while running away from there, his back gets torn by a sharp iron. Now as soon as Grace came out, she started asking for help from a car owner, but that man does not help Grace. With no other option, Grace runs into the forest. On the other hand, Alex's entire family was upset with Grace running away, and Tony kept repeating only one thing, that if Grace was not found before morning, they would all be die. Later, Grace is found by that servant and tries to kill him, but Grace cleverly strangles the servant to unconsciousness and drives away with his car. While leaving, the police got information from Grace Carr's artificial intelligence. She asks to call her, but on the contrary, the artificial intelligence stops the car, saying that Grace has stolen the car. Meanwhile, the servant regains consciousness and takes Grace away unconscious. And while leaving, he makes a video call to Alex's family. They were all very happy about this, and being tension-free, they praised the servant. But Grace regains consciousness and kicks the servant. Due to this, the car loses its balance and meets with an accident. And in this accident, the servant gets killed. Grace was also hurt very badly. Then Daniel found Grace, but this time he does not help Grace. He knocks her unconscious, and his father was watching all this. Now with just an hour left until morning, they take Grace away. Alex, on the other hand, tries to open his bag. Meanwhile, his mother arrives there. There is a lot of argument between them regarding Grace, and Alex says he chooses Grace over his family. Now Alex's mother became somewhat disappointed with this. Next, let's start all the rituals, where everyone drinks some strange kind of water, after which Tony goes to kill Grace. They all vomit blood, and the story takes a new turn here. We see Daniel helping Grace, and he was the one who had mixed poison in the water. As Daniel and Grace flee, Charity stops them, and unwillingly, for the sake of her entire family, she shoots her husband Daniel. Grace goes and stops him, and she goes to Daniel and thanks him. But Daniel gets killed due to the gunshot. Grace hits Tony with a lamp lying there, and throwing the lamp causes a fire there. Next, Alex's mother stops Grace, but she misses his target. Both of them fight. Meanwhile, Alex's mother pins Grace down and chokes her. At that very moment, Grace gets hold of a games box and hits Alex's mother with it, and the constant hitting on his head results in his death. Then Alex arrives there and sees his mother dead. Alex catches Grace thinking that she will leave him after all this, and supports his family. He calls everyone. Tony was very happy with Alex for this. They all start the ritual again, And this time, Emily's children also take part in the ritual. As Alex goes to kill Grace, Grace slips a little, due to which the knife hits his shoulder. Meanwhile, Grace sees the opportunity and quickly takes out a knife and scares everyone. It was now morning, due to which all the family members were very scared, but even after some time nothing happens to them. Now everyone was surprised by this. They wonder if all these rules and rituals of their ancestors are just a sham. Meanwhile, Alex also tries to get through to Grace, but Grace doesn't let him get to her. Helen, taking this as a second chance, goes to kill Grace with an axe. At that very moment, Helen's body completely explodes and shatters into pieces. Now seeing all this, everyone is shocked. Then, in no time, Fitch and Charity also explode in the same manner. Even Emily and her kids get teary-eyed. Tony, full of pride, abuses his ancestors that, why did they make such disgusting rules? Just saying this, he also explodes. Alex, now still alive, apologizes to Grace, and he says that he is not like his family. That's why he is still alive, but he betrays Grace at the last moment, causing Grace to take off the wedding ring that Alex was wearing. At the same moment, Alex also broke into pieces, and thus all the members of that family died. And when the entire house caught fire, all traces of that terrible game were destroyed. And the story of this movie ends with this scene. If you liked the story, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel, so that you do not miss the story of similar upcoming movies. Thank you for staying with the story till the end.